Hi everybody, it's Ms. Zebor again. I'm so excited that you tuned into my show. Today is going to be a read aloud. And today on your lesson plans that you all have, it says our skill is realism and fantasy. So, if you remember Ms. Zebor's chart in the classroom, I made a smaller version so that we can review it and then read our book and decide if our book is a realism story or if it's a fantasy story. So let's focus on realism for a second. So realism is something that could actually happen. So realism means that, like, Ms. Zebor is actually talking. That's a realism thing. Or you see elephants on the news. That's a realism story. It's really happening with elephants. Okay, so realism means real. So realism means good. It could be funny. It could have some facts. So it could tell you facts about an elephant, like elephants are gray. It could be funny, like saying an elephant just squirted a friend with his water from his trunk. It could be a fictional story, but have elements that could really happen. So it could be kind of not true, but it has elements, so it means that it has parts of the story that actually could happen in your real life. So that's what that means. So this is realism. So realism means true. Realism means good. Realism could really happen. Realism could really good. All right, so let's go to fantasy. So a fantasy story is something that it can't really happen. So like this little alien guy, he really is not true. So he's a fantasy character, so he can't happen. It also means that it's make-believe. So if I said that my cat Oliver just jumped on me and he said, "Good morning, Ms. Zebor," could that really happen? Could my cat really talk to me? Probably not. Maybe in his meows, but probably not in a real voice. It has stories with animals talking or wearing clothes. So again, if Oliver decided to one day talk to me, that would be a fantasy story. So if Ms. Zebor felt like writing a story about her cat Oliver that told her all these fun stories and jokes, that would be a fantasy story. It's magical places or things. So sometimes we read stories about a big castle and maybe even like a fairy land, like Peter Pan. Peter Pan, you all know, is Ms. Zebor's favorite story. And Peter Pan is not real. It's a fantasy place. It's a land that's made up. And it could be silly characters. So it could be characters that fall a lot or characters that just are so silly it makes us laugh while we read. So this is a fantasy and this is realism. Fantasy means that it's make-believe. Fantasy means that it's good. It's make-believe. And realism means that it is real. Realism means that it is good. So another trick when we see realism, the word real is already in the word realism. So all you have to remember is realism means real. And real is in the realism word. All right, so keep in mind, we are learning about realism and fantasy. So I'm about to read you a story. And what we are going to learn in this story, and we need to think about, is whether or not it's a realism story or if it's a fantasy story. So when I introduce my book, I want you to think about, could this really happen? Or is it going to be a fantasy story and it's a make-believe story? All right, do you think you got it? All right, so my book today is a big book. So Ms. Zebor's going to hold it up nice and big. And I know we've read this book before, so you should remember kind of what this book is going to be about. And you should really think about, is it going to be real or is it going to be a fantasy story? So, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie by Laura Joffe Numeroff. And it's illustrated by Felicia Bond. I'm sorry if I messed up the illustrator's name. Not good with it. So, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So take a look at the front cover and think. Think about what you think this story is going to be about. You might already know, But I want you to think about what you think this story is going to be about. And I want you to tell whoever is next to you what the story looks like it might be about. Good. All right, so let's read. If you give a mouse a cookie. It's a very large book, so give me a moment. All right. If you give a mouse a cookie, you have to hold it. No, maybe not. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. So I want to pause here and I want to look at this picture right here. Already we can see that it hits some of our points on our fantasy, right? It says animals talking or wearing clothes. Is our animal wearing clothes? Yeah, he is. Has he been asking for things? So has he been talking? Yeah, so right now, I want you to tell whoever's next to you, is this fantasy or realism? Okay, keep that thought in your head as we continue to read. Then he'll want to look in a mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim, so he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. Oh, I wish I had a mouse who would sweep every room of my house. That would make cleaning so much easier. He may even end up washing the floors as well. When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. Think about it. Could a mouse really sweep and mop the floors? Probably not. You're right. I don't think a mouse could really pick up a broom and a mop. You'll have to fix up a little box with a blanket and a pillow for him. He'll crawl and make himself comfortable and fluff the pillow a few times. So you'll read to him from one of your books, and he'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get so excited he'll want to draw one of his own. He'll ask for paper and crayons. So here's another example. Could a mouse come in color with you and pick up an actual marker or crayon in his hands? Probably not. You're right. So we got to think about it. So we decided that it is a fantasy story. So our fantasy also says there are silly characters. So is our mouse being silly that he is trying to clean? He needs to take a nap. He's cut all of his hair and sweeping. Is that being silly? Yeah, that's being silly. He'll draw a picture. So there's the little mouse, and he's drawing a picture. The crayon is bigger than the mouse. I don't know. I think if this was a real story, the mouse wouldn't even be able to pick up a crayon. When the picture is finished, he'll want to sign his name. That mouse is a really good artist. That's the picture he drew. With a pen. Then he'll want to hang his picture on your refrigerator, which means he'll need, what will he need to hang his picture on the refrigerator? What do you think? Let's find out if you're right. Scotch tape. He'll hang up his drawing and stand back to look at it. Looking at the refrigerator will remind him that. What will it remind him of? Try to get all the book in. He's thirsty. Uh-oh. So, what is he gonna want now if he's thirsty? Think back to the beginning of our book. What will he want if he's thirsty? Maybe some milk, yeah, or water. What else? Maybe juice. Yeah, he might want all those really good, yummy things. He'll ask for a glass of milk. And chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, what goes well with milk? You think cookies? Let's see. He's going to want a cookie to go with it. You guys are so smart. The end. All right, so you guys did such a great job today reading with me and answering my questions. So, what did we come to the conclusion? Is this a realism story or is this a fantasy story? What do you think? Yes, and why are we saying that it's a fantasy story? Give me one example. Good, yes, it has a talking animal, and it could not really happen. What else? Yes, the mouse is wearing clothes. Good, yes, and he swept and he mopped, or swept and he mopped. Good. Great job, guys. Give yourself a pat on the back and say, good job, me. All right, you guys were awesome today. Thank you for listening to my story about realism and fantasy and figuring out that it is a fantasy story. Tomorrow, we are going to practice writing. And so when you come to a class tomorrow, I want you to have some kind of writing paper. So next time you watch my video tomorrow, I want you to come prepared with your writing paper that was in that packet, or for those of you who are seeing this and you're not in my normal kindergarten classroom, come to class with a piece of paper that you can write on, maybe make a picture at the top. We're going to do some writing stuff. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Remember, click like, subscribe if you want to keep up to date on everything I'm doing. Bye, guys.